I'm JoEtta Brown, and I'm a candidate for Assembly District 39 in Douglas County. I do not dismiss the difficulties of running against an incumbent. However, the time to do so is now.
What do you stand for politically?
I would like to be a voice for all. If elected, I would have an open door policy. In other words, my door would not be locked. Even though I may not have everyone who voted for me as part of what I'm doing, but you would be welcome across the board. It's very important that you talk with all your constituency and not just with those who helped you along the way and that might have opposing views than you do. It's very important that you know what everyone thinks so that you can make good policy decisions. Yes, I do. We're living in a new world of technology. How can we not be part of it? Although there's a number of people who do not have computers, so they're more or less shut out from having the opportunity to instantly respond to something. But still, there's a telephone and there's mail. I think there needs to be programs and policies that are proactive rather than reactive. I think we're always on the defensive. We're not trying new and exciting things simply because we're always trying economically to get out of the crisis.
Yeah.
Even though we're in an economic crisis in many ways, taxes, raising them, is not going to make a difference. And I'm opposed to any new taxes unless they make sense.
Then how do you balance the budget?
It's about allocation. Your budget, like you have at home, that you use every day. We need to look at the state budget almost in the same way so that we're not overspending in one area and making other services suffer because of that.
Where would you increase spending?
I believe that services to women and children are very important, but I also believe that our roads.
Do you believe that state workers should have more input into how their jobs are run?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I believe that any employee should have some input into what their work environment is like.
Yeah.
You have a happier employee that way. Well, I think it goes back to the economic crisis we're experiencing now. I think we're not looking in 5, 10, 20-year increments about how we could prepare for certain crises.
Yeah.
For instance, the fire last year, that took a lot out of the state budget.
Yeah.
I know there is funds allocated to answer some of those needs, but we know we're living in a fire state. So what do? We need more first responders, and we need more money for them, and they should be better equipped. We should have better airplanes to respond to a fire. And this is just one example of many issues that faces the state.
Yeah. What do you think the most important issue in the legislature right now is?
Balancing the budget.
Yeah.
That's what they're trying to do right now through the interim finance committee.
Yeah.
So it's very important that we take care of this because we're in a down cycle now. And it was predicted that every 10 years Nevada would go through this cycle. So what do we do to alleviate that problem? We become more proactive.
Is there any particular policy that you would make a priority?
Education.
Education?
Yes, very much so. Our schools are in need of repair. Our schools are in, for instance, there's radon in some of our schools, not only here in Douglas County, but in many of them, Reno and Las Vegas. We need to look at our teachers' salaries, how we retain good teachers. We need to look at what kind of curriculum do our students even have enough supplies, books, and that.
What should Nevada be doing about global warming?
We should be having renewable energy like solar.
Yeah.
And there should be money to do research so that we can expand that possibility.
Yeah.
And Nevada has geothermal, and biomass. And wind.
We've got an absurd riches of solar and wind and geothermal.
We do, and we're not harnessing that to use as a renewable energy source. And I think that should be a priority.
Do you think individual people's choices are important in the global climate equation?
Yes, I do. And I think people need to understand what the carbon footprint really means.
Yep.
And individually, if we change just one way we do things, then it makes a difference in the landfills that are way beyond their capacity. And it would make a difference in our world.
To allow people to have solar panels no matter what the CCNRs say. They just passed something like that.
I think that people should be able to put on their houses within reason what is regulated. I think the regulations need to be looked at. There needs to be criteria for how you go about placing solar panels, not just on your home, but for businesses as well.
Cool. On the other side, will you pledge to monitor what your citizens have to say to you on the internet?
Yes, I would.
Yeah.
Yes, I would. I could not do that all by myself, and I would not solely rely upon a staff member. I would review what I was told rather than just rely on someone else telling me what to do. I think there's a danger in that. I think that a legislator that represents their constituency should know what's going on, not have someone tell them what they think, put their spin on it. You should vote for me because of what I would bring to the table that hasn't been there in the past 16 years, I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
The difference being I would be working for you, and that I would have that open door policy where I would be accessible, and that we could sit down and have a dialogue, and that would make a big difference in what kind of decisions I would make.
Cool. Well,